is changing how businesses interact with customers, improve customer experience on a large scale, and drive growth. In this VB Spotlight, industry specialists shared true use cases, examined difficulties, and offered significant bits of knowledge to engage your association's Gen computer-based intelligence technique. According to Gamma co-founder John Noronha, the greatest benefit of LLMs, large language models, is also their greatest disadvantage, which is that they are very creative. Innovative is magnificent, yet imaginative additionally implies capricious. You can pose a similar inquiry of a LLM and find a totally different solution relying upon exceptionally slight contrasts in stating. For organizations building creation applications around LLMs, the designing mentality of unsurprising investigating and programming, testing and observing is unexpectedly tested. Building one of these applications at scale, we've observed that we're reconsidering our entire programming advancement cycle and attempt to make analogs to these customary practices like troubleshooting and checking for LLMs, he adds. This issue will be tackled, yet it will require another age of foundation apparatuses to help advancement groups comprehend how their LLMs perform at scale out in nature. According to Irfan Ganchi, CPO at Opportun, it's a new technology, and engineers are running into new problems every day. For example, consider the period of time it takes to prepare LLMs, especially while you're preparing on your own insight base, as well as attempting to keep it on-brand across different touch focuses in different settings. Almost a filter on the input side and a filter on the output side are required. Put a human in the know to check and ensure you're working in a joint effort with both a human and what the generative simulated intelligence is delivering, he says. It's far to go, yet it's a promising innovation. Working with LLMs isn't like working with programming, adds Shailesh Nalawadi, head of item at Sendbird. It's not programming. He asserts, it is not deterministic. A little change in data sources can prompt immeasurably various results. What makes it more testing is you can't follow back through an LLM to sort out why it gave a specific result, which is something that we as programmers have generally had the option to do. A great deal of experimentation goes into making the ideal LLM and placing it into creation. Then, at that point, the tooling around refreshing the LLM, the test computerization and the CI/album pipelines, they don't exist. In order to launch generative AI-based applications built on top of LLMs right now, we need to be aware of everything that is missing and proceed with extreme caution. According to Nalawadi, one of the most common misconceptions is that many people compare LLMs to Google searches, a dataset with full admittance to continuous, filed data. Tragically, that is false. LLMs are many times prepared on a corpus of information that is possibly 6 to 12 to year and a half old. For them to answer a client with the specific data you want requires the client to provoke the model with the points of interest of your information. According to him, that means, in a business setting, enabling the correct prompt and ensuring that you package all the information that is relevant to the required response will be quite important. Brief designing is an extremely significant subject here. According to Noronha, terminology is the other major misconception. The expression generative suggests making something without any preparation, which can be fun, yet is much of the time not where the most business esteem is or will be. We'll observe that age is quite often going to be matched with your very own portion information as a beginning stage, that is then matched with generative computer-based intelligence, he says. The art is bridging these two worlds by using your existing knowledge and structure to create a creative, unpredictable model. In numerous ways, I think groundbreaking man-made intelligence is a superior term for where the genuine worth is coming from. Perhaps of the greatest trepidation individuals have around generative man-made intelligence in a creation climate is that it will mechanize everything, Ganchi says. That can't be further from reality in light of how we've seen it, he makes sense of. Although it automates some routine tasks, it is primarily increasing productivity. For example, in Opportun's contact place, they've had the option to prepare the models in light of the reactions of top-performing specialists, and afterward utilize those models to prepare all specialists, and direction with Gen artificial intelligence to further develop normal reaction times and hold times. We're ready to drive such a lot of significant worth when people, our representatives, and generative simulated intelligence instruments increment efficiency, yet in addition work on the experience for our clients, Ganchi says. we see that an instrument increments efficiency, as opposed to supplanting people. It's an organization that we have seen function admirably, explicitly with regards to the contact community. He cites similar marketing trends in which generative AI assists modern marketers in significantly increasing their content writing and creative generation productivity. They can accomplish quite a lot more. An instrument improves while applying generative computer-based intelligence. The most vital thing is by and large exceptionally purposeful, Gonchi expresses, going in with a major procedure and the capacity to steadily test the worth inside an association. He says, one thing we've found is that there is a lot of apprehension, both on the employee front and the organizational executive front, as soon as you introduce generative AI. How might you be purposeful? How can you be deliberate? You have a technique to gradually test, show worth, and add to the efficiency of an association. Before you even begin conveying it, you want to have foundation set up to quantify the exhibition of generative man-made intelligence-based frameworks, Nalawadi adds. Is there any output being produced? Does it meet expectations? Is it palatable? Have a human evaluation framework, perhaps, he says. And afterward keep that around as you advance your LLMs and develop the prompts. Check to see if this gold standard is actually getting better by returning to it. Utilize that as opposed to exclusively depending on subjective measurements to perceive how it's doing. Pre-plan it. Ensure you have a test foundation and a quantitative assessment structure. According to Nerona, choosing which issues to apply generative AI to is, in many ways, the most crucial step. There's unquestionably various accidents that can come the way, yet everybody is so anxious to sprinkle the enchanted pixie residue of simulated intelligence on their item that not every person is thoroughly considering what the perfect locations are to put it, he says. We looked for situations in which, like formatting a presentation, it was a task that no one wanted to do or was either not doing. That kind of case should be looked for and investigated thoroughly, in my opinion. The other thing that shocked us in zeroing in on those was that it didn't just change effectiveness. It got individuals to make things they wouldn't have been making previously. To find out about where generative man-made intelligence is currently, and where it's going from here on out, alongside certifiable contextual investigations from industry pioneers and substantial return for capital invested, don't miss this VB Spotlight occasion.